Welcome back to my series about simple hors d'oeuvres that you can have for impromptu entertaining. These are my pinwheel prosciutto roll-ups, and they are the easiest things to make. Occasionally my husband calls up and says, "Holly, you don't mind if I bring over 7 or 8 businessmen for drinks and hors d'oeuvres before we all go out to dinner tonight?" So I've learned to have things on hand that I can quickly pull out and have something yummy to be able to serve. And I think you'll find that this is one of the easiest recipes. It only requires 4 ingredients and it's very easy to make. The 4 ingredients: puff pastry sheets by Pepperidge Farm. Normally I always have these in my freezer, so that's an easy go-to. I usually always have honey mustard. I also freeze prosciutto, so that's very easy to freeze and it thaws out in just a few minutes actually. And the final ingredient is Parmesan cheese. Those 4 items. So I take the puff pastry out, let it thaw a little bit. That takes about 5 or 10 minutes. But while it's thawing, I have the oven at 425 degrees. So that's heating up, and it's best if this is thawed, because if it isn't, it's a little bit difficult to work with. So you unroll it, that's it, and spread it with some honey mustard. This is Mail, one of my favorite brands. Stuart and I go to the Mail shop on Place Madeleine every time we're in Paris, and we buy the unpasteurized mustard. The pasteurized one is quite pungent. This is a honey mustard that I did buy at the store. So I simply spread the honey mustard over the puff pastry. You don't have to be very neat about it because none of it will show. And once you feel like you've covered most of it, then I sprinkle Parmesan cheese, which I've pre-grated, and sprinkle that right over the top. As much as you like or as little as you like. And I've been known to make these without the cheese. If I don't have any Parmesan cheese, it's still as good with just the prosciutto and the mustard. So then I take this, you want to go this way. So we're going to roll, to make the longest possible roll, you want to have the puff pastry and the prosciutto going in that direction. They can overlap just a little bit, and that's it. You do want one end just to be not covered with prosciutto if possible, and then just roll it up into a pinwheel as tightly as you can and make it into your pinwheel. And that's all you have to do. Now at this point, what I normally do is wrap it in saran wrap, put it in the freezer, and let it freeze, because I can pull this out at a moment's notice and slice it and make pinwheels within 10 minutes. So I'm going to slice this right now as it is and show you what it looks like after I've cooked it. So I recommend, if it's not frozen, to definitely use a serrated knife. It just goes a little easier that way. That's it. When it's frozen or partially thawed, they stay together a little easier, but doesn't matter either way. So I'll continue cutting these, and then we'll cook them until they're lightly browned. And again, these can be served warm, hot, or room temperature, but they are better when they're a little bit warm. When they're frozen, you can slice them even thinner because they hold, the puff pastry holds together a little bit better. So preheat the oven again, about 425, because the puff pastry needs to have a very hot oven in order to puff. So 425, and depending how thick you're cutting these little pinwheels, it depends on how long they cook. So I would say this size here is about 1/4 of an inch, definitely about 8 minutes. But keep your eye on them so that they don't burn. So that roll yielded 22 roll-ups, and in the oven they go. They're going into a 425 oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. Oh, perfect. This is 9 minutes, and I don't know if you can see, but It's just a little bit browned, and that's just how you want them. It smells so good in here right now. Remember, they're quite hot, so you want to wait a few moments before you serve them so you don't burn your guest's mouth. And since the name of our house is Foxhall, we have a little fox that likes to hop on board to my platters occasionally. When these are frozen, it makes about 24 because I can slice them thinner. Oh, these are so soft. I think they'll really be good. They go really well with an Italian wine. This happens to be a vineyard that we visited while we were down in Tuscany in Italy. These are my Pinwheel prosciutto roll-ups. So easy. You can keep one in the freezer for impromptu guests, or you can make them fresh just before they arrive. Either way, the house smells divine. They're so delicious, and I hope you give them a spin sometime. They're really good. If you make these, please leave a comment and let me know how they turned out for you. Also, I hope you'll give us a thumbs up and you'll consider subscribing to the channel. I look forward to bringing you more secret recipes on easy impromptu hors d'oeuvres.